What if the life you've always known was built on a secret so deep it could unravel everything you thought you were? That was the question I wrestled with as I stood in my bedroom, the clock ticking past midnight on my 18th birthday. The house was quiet, but my mind was a storm. My parents had sat me down earlier that evening, their faces pale and voices trembling, to tell me I was adopted. They expected shock, maybe tears. But I wasn't surprised. I'd known for years things they thought they'd buried forever. Growing up in our small, ivy-covered house in Vermont, I always felt like I was carrying a shadow no one else could see. My parents, Ellen and David, were kind, attentive, the kind of people who baked cookies for neighbors and never missed a school play. I had their love, their laughter, but there was always a gap, a subtle distance I couldn't name. It wasn't in their words or actions, it was in the way their eyes darted away when I asked about my birth, or how they changed the subject when I mentioned my earliest memories. By the time I was 10, I knew something wasn't right. It started with the dreams. Vivid, relentless dreams of a woman with long black hair and a voice like a lullaby, singing to me in a language I didn't understand. In those dreams, I was small, wrapped in a blanket, watching flames dance in a fireplace. The woman's face was always blurred, but her warmth felt real, like a memory I could touch. I'd wake up with tears on my cheeks, my heart pounding, and a name on my lips. Amara. I never told my parents. Something told me they wouldn't understand. By 14, I was searching for answers. I'd sneak into the attic when they were asleep, rifling through old boxes and dusty files. That's when I found Ida's small, leather-bound journal tucked inside a locked metal box I pried open with a hairpin. The journal wasn't theirs. The handwriting was sharp, elegant, nothing like my mom's loopy cursive or my dad's blocky scrawl. It was hers, Amara's. Page after page detailed a life I didn't know, a woman on the run, hiding from something or someone. She wrote about me, her little star, born a place called Eldridge Hollow, a town that didn't exist on any map I could find. The last entry was dated the day I was born. They're coming. I had to let her go. Forgive me, my star. I should have been terrified, but instead I felt alive. That journal was proof I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't just Lily, the quiet girl with good grades and a knack for painting. I was someone else's daughter, someone who'd left me clues to a truth my parents didn't want me to find. I kept the journal hidden under my floorboard, reading it whenever the house grew too quiet. I memorized every word, every sketch of strange symbols in the margins. I didn't know what they meant, but they felt like a map to something bigger. The night of my 18th birthday, when my parents told me I was adopted, I played along. I widened my eyes, let my voice shake, asked the questions they expected. Who were my birth parents? Why didn't you tell me sooner? They fed me a story about a closed adoption, a young woman who couldn't keep me, no records, no trace. But their story was too clean, too rehearsed. I saw the way my dad's hands fidgeted, the way my mom's smile didn't reach her eyes. They were lying not about the adoption, but about what came before. That's when the twist came, unannounced and uninvited. His name was Jonah, a wiry guy with a crooked grin who showed up at our doorstep the next morning, claiming to be a cousin I'd never heard of. My parents welcomed him like he was family, but something was off. He knew too much details about my childhood, my favorite books, even the way I tied my shoelaces. He said he was passing through, wanted to reconnect, but his eyes kept flicking to me, like he was searching for something. Over coffee, he casually mentioned Eldridge Hollow, the name from Amara's journal. My heart stopped. My parents didn't flinch, but I saw the tension in their shoulders. Jonah wasn't a cousin. He was a clue. I confronted him that night, after my parents went to bed. We sat on the porch, the air thick with the scent of pine and secrets. Who are you, really? I demanded, my voice low but steady. Jonah didn't bother lying. He told me he'd known Amara, my birth mother. She wasn't just some runaway, he said. She was a keeper of something ancient, something powerful, a set of artifacts called the Hollow Keys, tied to a place that existed outside maps, outside time. Eldridge Hollow wasn't a town. It was a sanctuary, hidden by forces my mind couldn't yet grasp. Amara had been its guardian, and I was her heir. Why didn't she keep me? I asked, my voice breaking despite myself. Jonah's eyes softened. She didn't want to. She had to. They were hunting her people who wanted the keys. She gave you up to keep you safe. He pulled a small, tarnished pendant from his pocket, etched with the same symbols from Amara's journal. She left this for you. Said you'd know when the time was right. I took the pendant. Its weight heavier than it should have been. My parents' lies, Amara's journal, Jonah's sudden arrival, it all clicked. They weren't just hiding my adoption. They were hiding who I was, what I was meant to be. I felt anger, yes, but also a strange relief. The shadow I carried my whole life had a name now, a purpose. I wasn't just Lily anymore. I was Amara's daughter, tied to something vast and unknown. The days that followed were a blur. I didn't confront my parents, not yet. I needed answers first. Jonah stayed in town, meeting me in secret to tell me more about Eldridge Hollow and the Hollow Keys. He taught me to read the symbols in Amara's journal, each one a piece of a puzzle that could lead me to her. But the more I learned, the more I realized the danger. Whoever had hunted Amara was still out there, watching. I felt in the way the air seemed to thicken at night, in the shadows that moved when they shouldn't. One night, I found a new entry in the journal. It wasn't there before, I'd have sworn it. In Amara's handwriting, it read, "Little star, if you're reading this, you've found your path. Trust Jonah, but guard your heart. The keys are yours, but so is the cost." My breath caught. It was impossible, but it was real. Amara was reaching out, somehow, from wherever she was. I didn't know if she was alive or gone, but her words lit a fire in me. I wasn't just a girl with a secret anymore. I was a guardian, a keeper, a daughter with a legacy to claim. On the last day Jonah was in town, he gave me a map not of roads, but of stars. Eldridge Hollow isn't a place you drive to, he said. It's a place you choose. He left that night, promising I'd see him again when I was ready. I stood on the porch, clutching the pendant and the journal, my parents' voices drifting from inside the house. They thought they were protecting me, but they'd only delayed the inevitable. I was 18 now, and the truth was mine to chase. I don't know where this path will lead, whether to Amara, to the Hollow Keys, or to dangers I can't yet imagine. But as I looked up at the stars, I felt her with me, her lullaby echoing in my heart. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of the shadow. It wasn't a burden. It was a promise.